Welcome to Contemporary Black Voices, the show that delves into the pivotal issues shaping our communities today. In this episode, we explore the recent donation debacle at Florida A&M University, a controversy that has raised serious questions about the institution's vetting processes. Why wasn't more thorough scrutiny conducted? Despite the glaring issues, why is the university still pursuing this donation? We will also examine the accountability of the top administration and whether resignations or firings are warranted. Moreover, we'll discuss the potential criminal implications for the donor. Join us as we unpack these critical questions and consider the broader takeaways for our educational institutions and communities. Joining me today is my co-host, businessman and entrepreneur Chris Dawkins. Missing and sorely missed are our other co-hosts, Dr. Sharon Michael Chadwell, and author and screenwriter Professor Fred Williams. So let's dive right into what will prove to be a very engaging discussion. Chris, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I would say I'm not so sure that Florida A&M is still pursuing trying to get this money. I think right now they're just really trying to save their jobs. So I don't know that they're really trying to prove. But to go back, let's really recap and let some people understand who this person is and what happened.
Okay.
There was a gentleman, he's actually from Texas. Do you remember his name?
Yeah, Jerami.
Jerami. And he had tried to make a donation for, what was the amount?
Was it $237 million?
Right, okay. And he was making that to the University of Florida A&M. And everybody was excited about getting this money. The one thing that had happened is that this had not been told to the rest of the trustees or anybody else. It was going to be sprung on them, excuse me, at graduation. Well, lo and behold, they find out that the money may not be real. They tried to eventually vet this guy, which they should have done at the very beginning, but didn't. And now the state of Florida, along with some others, are really pointing the finger at the president of Florida A&M, as well as some of the other trustees, for embracing this without having to vet it. Jerami.
Yeah, Greg Jerami.
Greg Jerami, without vetting him first. So right now, like I said, I don't think that they're still trying to pursue the money, but their jobs are kind of in jeopardy at this particular point because they embrace this. So we'll have to see where that goes.
So with this Jerami guy, right? So he has this Madison Farms corporation, right? Which is where the donation, this charity or whatever, where the donation flowed through.
Okay.
So I know they were talking about how he never signed it, the official documents on behalf of Madison Farms. They were saying that the woman he had listed as the vice president or co-chair of his company or whatever, that she said that she never received a dime and she never worked for him.
Right.
And then when they questioned him about it, he said, well, she was paid in penny stocks, which should have raised the red flags, because if she was paid in penny stocks, then that means this company should have been registered somewhere. You know what I mean?
And let me just say, first of all, this guy's business is in the hemp, growing of hemp and marijuana.
Right.
So that's where he was supposedly making this money from. However, and the reason he was giving it to Florida A&M, because Florida A&M is at the forefront of a university, and especially I think a black university, as far as growing hemp. They're doing some research.
Right?
They're doing some research in that. So that was the reason why he chose them to give the money to.
Well, hold on.
Okay.
He wasn't their first choice, remember?
No,
Right. So he. So again, and the Texas Hemp Growers Association said he wasn't registered. They never heard of him before. And so you have somebody who's giving away $237 million, you should be well known in the hemp business.
Right.
So this association had never heard of him, so that should have raised an additional red flag. He had tried to give a large donation, $90-something million to another HBCU, Coastal Carolina, who walked away from that deal. So people were saying, why didn't FAMU contact Coastal Carolina? The other thing is he tried to, I think he first approached the University of Texas and they laughed at him or something like that. I think they laughed him out of the room or laughed at him and hung up the phone or stuff. So I mean, it looks like he's approached multiple universities with this donation. So it looks to be, again, so there's a conflict. He said he paid her in penny stocks, but he's saying it's a privately owned corporation, which means, again, you can't have it both ways. Either you're registered and you're allowed to issue those penny stocks, or you're not, right, and not be registered. Right. So he's saying, well, now he's saying it's a private corporation, and he's given his own value to these stocks, right? Which is another red flag. So there's not a real valuation of these stocks, okay? So which is the other issue. So let's move this forward now that we kind of familiarize the viewers with kind of what's going on. What do you think about an African American man who does this to a black university?
Well, first of all, I told you before, I think we all wanted to believe that this was true.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
We all wanted to believe that a black man had the capability of being like Robert Johnson, having enough money to be able to give to a college and for us to stick our chests out and be very proud of that. However, that's not the way things really happened. And so, you know, a black man being able to give this money, we really wanted to see that. However, it didn't materialize, and it appears that he scammed his own people, which is something that we normally don't do on a large scale. We do it all the time on a small scale, but we don't do it on that kind of large scale because nobody's ever going to believe normally that you got $200 and some million to be able to do that. So that's a big fish tail to begin with.
So let me ask you, I've read some other stuff on social media. So do you, I mean, this debacle, like what are the fallouts? Do you think that this reflects bad on just Florida State, on their administration, or does it reflect in a wider sense on HBCUs, on our vetting processes? What are your thoughts on that?
All of that. I think, you know, first of all, it's just like looking at a murder on TV and everybody says, you know, you're looking at this thing happened, you know, you say, I hope he's not black. I hope he's not black. I hope he's not black.
Right.
This is the same type of thing with this situation. Now that we find out that the guy is black, he does it to a black university, then we know going through white people's mind is they say, you can't trust the black folks. You can't trust the black administrators. We've given them some things, responsibilities. You can't trust any of that. So yes, it reflects on us all the way around in the things that we do, and it is a big black mark on black people in general.
Okay, and so yeah, go ahead. I'll give you an opportunity. Go ahead and expand on that a little bit. So. And I mean, in what way do you think going forward this is going to have an effect on donors, on administrators, positive or negative, as far as the vetting processes, as far as even the hiring processes, or the way donations are done? This was a stock transfer, and he kept saying, "Well, the money's in the bank, the cash is in the bank," and this was actually a stock transfer where a stock that he valued himself. You know what I mean? And so, do you think this is going to, maybe suppress donors in the future from wanting because of the scrutiny?
Sure. Let me answer that. Let's take a quick break. Okay. We'll come back, and then we'll address that when we come back.
All righty. Stay tuned for the next segment.